Okay, this is Fred at Nozzle Supply Company again. I'm going to do a little bit more maintenance on Mydata Midas tools. I'm going to remove and install O-rings. There's probably a lot of different ways to do it. When we're taking old O-rings off a tool, I don't want to get in there with a screwdriver and rip up the anodizing on the tool body. So you get one that's this one's got chips in it, and it's old and probably needs replacing. I'm going to take this is a machinist scribe, and I've sharpened it to an extra sharp point. The machinist scribe originally comes with a rounded over end on it, so it just scratches, but it doesn't really cut. But I've sharpened it to a very sharp point. I'm going to penetrate the O-ring from the side and get a good bite on it, keeping my fingers clear. You don't want to slip and poke a hole through your finger. That thing is sharp. Now that we've got it, well, we're going to do it again. We'll get a good bite on that rubber. We're going to lift it up and use a hobby knife to get underneath it and cut it out. It takes a lot of force to do this. So get the blade underneath the O-ring and slice it off. There's one O-ring off. We'll do the other the same way. Get a good bite on it. Lift it out. Slip the edge of the knife underneath it. And these hobby knives aren't really sharp enough to do this. I've done a little extra sharpening on that. And there we go. And these will usually have a bunch of white grease underneath in the bottom of this, and I'll clean that up. Use something like WD-40 or knockoffs of WD-40. Spray that up to soften the grease, then use a toothbrush, get in there and clean it all out. Then clean it in soap and water afterwards to get it really clean. After I've done that, set that one aside because I'm not ready to work with it. We've got one here that's ready to install. And I always see grease when I'm rebuilding these things and taking them apart, and taking the old O-rings off. I see grease down the bottom of that. So I'm going to install 3 points of grease in each groove. Hypodermic here with a plastic tip. Put a drop there, rotate it approximately a third of the revolution, put another drop. And finally done there. On our tool, on my tool, we can take the nut off there and just put it down on the soft magazine. These pins are very hard and they'll scar your workbench there, so I use a magazine to do this. We have a little brass fixture here. We set that on the end of it. It is tapered to fit on there. And without this little brass fixture, pressing the O-ring on there it's hard, it's difficult, and you do 3 or 4 of them and your fingers are going to be sore, and that's all you're going to want to do for an hour or so. But with this little brass tool here, you can do one after the other all day long and it won't hurt you. If you had this on the machine, say you've got a Mydata tool that doesn't come apart like ours, you can do this without the we have this old Mydata nozzle tip there, and you could do the same thing. Get a new O-ring. And push it on. It'll go past the first groove since it's already filled and go to the second groove, and you've got a nozzle or tool there that's ready to go. But this will only work without the tip, so it has to be done without the tip. If you got the machine handy, you can probably put this in the tool holder magazine, put a brass guide there, and then go ahead and do it on the machine. And that's probably just as effective as, you know, using this outfit here. So that is maintenance procedures that I use on the O-rings, and if you're careful, don't stick that all through your finger. It'll all work well. It just takes a little bit of, it does take almost 3 hands to do it, but you can do it just the way I did. And that's how we do it at Nozzle Supply Company.